I had a dream once, as many of us do. When I worked as a camera salesman at the shop, I came across a camera through talking with some of the guys there that I hadn't found out before. And this was probably near enough 10 years ago. Yeah, it might actually be. This camera is wholly unique and ironically is actually trendy at the moment, technically, if you have a look at the weird Instagram reels that have been going out at the moment. And that is, of course, the Hasselblad XPan. Now, if you've come across this camera before, you know it's a little bit of an oddity in the field. That's because it's a panoramic medium format camera that gives you cinematic ratio film style images. And I got to have a play, not after begging to allow me to have a go with it, but I think it's important to have an ambition for things to get in the future that you just wholeheartedly love, to build up a collection. I mean, I've built up a collection of old film cameras, and this would be the pièce de résistance. However, when it comes to it, it's around £3,000 to actually purchase, and that's this one that I actually tried out. And it's got a bunch of brassing on it, which I do oddly like. A lot, actually. I think it would actually be a benefit to have the brassing on there. I'm often liking that on my own cameras, not on purpose, mainly by mistake. But the Hasselblad XPan, the Hasselblad XPan II in this case, was a camera that I've been looking at for a very long time, from a very long distance. At Camera Centre UK, we actually have a whole host of events that are run by brands, so you can check out some of the latest and greatest technology. From Leica to Olympus, Canon, Nikon and everyone else in between. You can come into the store, check them out on particular days where the brand reps come down, and every now and then we do photo walks. So make sure you go over to Camera Centre UK/events to check out what's going to be going on. Yeah. Now, when I originally found out about it, it was only £2,000. And at that point, I was just like, what am I going to use it for? I want to buy gear in order to be able to make money. And that was a lot of the reasons why I bought things at that time. And I'm still at that time. I need to buy things to be able to make money out of them. And when it comes to the XPan, I can't necessarily justify it. But even saying that, with a little bit of foresight, you can clearly tell that actually buying these kind of cameras that are more collectible can actually net you a little bit of profit. We had one at Camera Centre box mint condition that was actually £5,000, so the price of it has actually gone up. Something to think about. But wholeheartedly, it's the most beautiful camera I think I've ever actually laid hands on, especially with, a little bit of brassing. So let's go into my experience of it. I took it out in Cardiff for a small time and I would like to take it out again, just to take some photos. I ran a roll of Ultramax through it as well as black and white, and we're going to look at the photos as it goes along with the video. Now, the thing to really understand is the general body and what's on it and what it is capable of, which I'll go over now with the angle of the camera I got at the time. The way in which the camera works is as you load the film, it will roll out all of the film over to the other side, and then when you take a photo, it will go back into the film canister itself, making it a very safe way to actually shoot. This means, for example, if you open the back of the camera, you're not actually going to lose any of the photos that it's already taken at that point, which a few other cameras can do, but this one does it really quite well. And in one way, it actually makes it a lot quicker to actually shoot because all the film's back in the canister, so you don't have to go through the annoying process of rolling the film all the way back into the camera. And this right here is what makes the Pan F, allowing you to get cinematic ratio photos. To put the film in the camera, all you have to do is open the catch on the side and then slot the film in, extending it to where it says film tip. Then it's pretty much ready to go. Then all you need to do is close the back of the camera and then just hear the film roll out all of the film ready to shoot. When it comes to shooting, you get around about 20 shots on the panoramic mode, and then you've also got the ability to change it to the 35mm mode, which you'll get the 36 shots, which, that's quite nice. The camera actually shoots up to 1,000th of a second, and you have a bunch of different modes to be able to change the metering and just see where everything kind of rolls. This right here is the switch between the panoramic and the normal 35mm way of shooting. And like I said a minute ago, it's nice to be able to actually do this, because not all the time do you want to shoot the panoramic, but it's one of the main reasons you would actually end up getting this. What I like about the XPan is the fact it's nice and small, even considering the fact that it is technically a medium format camera. The lens is beautiful and it just seems to work. Anyway, let's go take some more photos, and we're going to be trying out some black and white from here. Now let's go into a little bit of the history and what the Hasselblad XPan is really all about. Imagine a 35mm camera that could suddenly unleash a panoramic canvas twice as wide as a normal negative. A camera that blurred the lines between 35mm and medium format design. That was the promise of the XPan series, but in 2003 Hasselblad pushed it further with the entry of the XPan II. The story really begins with the Hasselblad XPan when it was launched in 1998, co-developed with Fujifilm, and in Japan it was actually sold under the name of TX1. To the rest of the world it's known as the Hasselblad XPan. What really set it apart was its dual format design, and it could shoot in both standard 35mm exposures or panoramic 24x65mm frames, all on an ordinary 35mm film, making it almost revolutionary for the time. That means the 65mm width was basically rivaling medium format negatives in terms of how wide it was, while still using that film, making it very unique. So, coming forth to 2003, Hasselblad via Fuji's manufacturing the XPan II, also known as the TX2 in Japan. The XPan II kept the core design and the uniqueness of the original, but added a few refinements and polish. The key upgrades include a viewfinder LCD that shows the shutter speed as well as the exposure data, an extended bulb exposure time so you can actually shoot for 540 seconds if you want to. More flexibility for self-timer, so that introduced a 2 to 10 second delay, and the option to sync flash whether at the start or the end of the exposure, allowing you to be a little bit more creative. But the changes really weren't that radical. The design still favoured subtle evolution over reinvention, and sometimes that's really all you really need to do. The XPan II was produced between 2003 and 2006, and only about 5,500 units are estimated to have ever been made, making it a relatively rare camera. In my entire time working at Camera Centre, I have only ever seen 2 of these. One was actually in boxed mint that we had recently, and then there was this one. Can we grab a photo? Yeah? How you doing?
Alright, not too bad, just keeping the underpants off the face.
So if it was really that special, why did they end up discontinuing it? And that was really influenced by a few intersecting trends within the market. The rapid rise of digital photography diminished the demand for niche film cameras. In 2006, new EU regulations restricted the use of certain materials, for example lead, in the electronics. Upgrading the existing design to comply would have meant major re-engineering on Hasselblad and Fujifilm's part, and after 2006 Hasselblad quietly retired the XPan and the XPan II line, much to my own dismay, because it's such a beautiful series. And well, let's go into the legacy here. The XPan II is among the few, if not the only, truly dual format 35mm camera that lets you break the standard masking approach to panorama. Instead, it truly used more of the film. Its panoramic aesthetic has made it beloved by landscape, street and cinematic style photographers who value that ultra-wide cinematic frame. And today, the XPan II commands a premium among the film camera collectors and users for its unique analog experience. This video is sponsored by puppies. They're so lovely, aren't they? The legacy lives on in digital form. The newer Hasselblad X series do actually support Hasselblad cropping in the images, but this camera truly remains unique. It's something else entirely, especially when you have it in the hand. The grip feels almost sci-fi and almost like another reinvention of the wheel. I haven't actually felt a grip like it, where instead of protruding straight out of the body, it does a little bit, but it also protrudes out the back. Now, some manufacturers do this, but this is particularly comfortable. And of course, with it being a wider format camera, the camera is actually longer itself, and it only has 3 lenses overall, I believe, which I need to check. The XPan series only has a total of 3 lenses, a 30mm, 45mm and a 90mm, all of course in this medium format image circle, so you've got that beautiful 65mm distance of the actual negative. And what was my experience of it? Well, as of now, I'm still waiting for it to be developed and scanned, which we do here at Camera Centre UK, and unfortunately I actually had to put it back on the shelf at the shop. This is a camera that I can't necessarily get for myself, but if you are a collector for film cameras and you want something truly unique, then this is really it. The Hasselblad XPan is a legend for a reason. It's a beautiful camera, and it continues to be one of the most exciting cameras I think I have ever heard about, and why I wanted to do this video on it. And yeah, the other thing which is crazy about this, right? So like I said, at Camera Centre UK, we do a lot of new, used, and everything else in between cameras, so make sure you go over to our site at cameracenteruk.com to check it out. I have noticed around about 99% of you that watch this aren't actually subscribed, and it would actually be fantastic if you actually hit that subscribe button, that notification, give us a like, add a little comment, and tell me what your favourite film camera is, and if it comes into the store, I might actually take it out and show it off a little bit. Anyway, I will see you next time, and let me know if you like the format. I've kind of had a bit of ADHD focus and vomited all over the back wall and added shelves and friggin' done all the bits. It's really cool. The Hasselblad XPan though, friggin' gorgeous. I want it so bad. And I tell you what, 1 million likes and I most likely will be given it, right? Maybe not 1 million. If this video gets 10,000, I'll make my case and I'll film it. It will be funny.